Hello everyone. This is Dr. Rachita Mishra speaking to you on your software engineering course. Today we shall deal with some of the testing approaches. We will first look at relook at the testing objectives and go to the testing principles. Then we will look at what is testability of a software and what do we mean by good testing, what are its attributes, and we'll look at the test planning or the test case design. And in this connection, we will try to differentiate between black box and white box testing. So, what is the testing objective? As we have seen earlier, testing is a task in the construction activity. If you take the generic process model, construction activity, we do it after the design. And in the construction activity, towards the end of the construction activity, after the implementation is over, we have to do the testing. And what does testing do? It ensures that the product is constructed in the right way and is what the customer intended. So that means we have made the correct product as per the customer's intentions, as per the customer's requirement, and also whatever we have done it in the right way. That means the design, as per the correct designing, we have done it. So two things we try to ensure at the time of testing, or rather we try to validate it in the time of testing. So we can say that the primary objective of the testing is in these three things. Testing is a process of executing a program with the intent of finding an error. So because we have to ensure the kind of quality that we are giving to the customer, we have to make it error free. So to make it error free, first we have to detect the error. So the primary objective is to execute the program that has been constructed and to find where are the errors, how many errors are there, all the errors we have to detect. Then we have to do a good test case. To do a testing, we need a test case. So a good test case is one that has a high probability of finding errors which are not yet detected. So that means always we will feel that some errors are detected but more errors are remaining. So a good test case will be one that will create new errors, not the old errors. So that is what is meaning of a good test case or designing a good test case. So one of the primary objectives should be that we should design test cases such that those which will have a high probability of finding errors and those errors which are not yet found earlier. So it will keep on unearthing new and new errors. And we will call a test successful if one that is uncovers new error which is not encountered. So if you conduct a test by using a test case and if it really uncovers, that means the data we give, not only the test case and the data that we give and the way we conduct it, it will be successful only if it will cover a new error. If it covers the same error, then it is a useless test. It is a waste of time. So always our objective should be to keep on detecting new and new errors, and our design of the test case should be intended towards that. The primary task is to design test. So the designing of the test is very important. It should be done in a systematic manner so that it will uncover different classes of errors. And to do so, we have to do it with a minimum amount and time and effort. So minimum time and effort we have to use. So we should not repeat any test case. The test case, each one has to determine a unique error, a different error, and systematically it should uncover not only errors but different classes of error. Errors can be categorized. So different types of error it will determine. And then only we can say that the test is a good design and the test is successful. So we have to do the design in that way. So that is the primary task. The primary task in the testing is to design the tests or the design the test cases. Data collected as testing is conducted, it provides a good indication of the software reliability and some indication of the software quality as a whole. So that is one of the benefits of testing. Though testing shows that software errors, though testing shows the software errors and the defects that are present in the software, it cannot guarantee the absence of errors and defects. That means we cannot guarantee absolute error-free product. That means we are also recognizing that some errors will remain. It will not be able to guarantee, it cannot make the software completely error-free. So some principles how to, so that is the testing design is very important. Because it is important, so people have given some principles and guidelines how to go about designing the test. So what it says is, Davis has given some principles. So let us look at it. There are 6 points to it. What he says, that all tests should be traceable to the customer requirement. So everything should be only if the customer requirement is there, you do the test. So otherwise, you don't do the test. It should have some association, some tractability to each of the customer requirement. Tests should be planned long before testing begins. So that we have also seen that the test plan is prepared at the time of requirement itself. When we do the requirement, we can start planning for the testing. If you remember the V model, we had seen that kind of focus on the test planning. So test planning is a very important aspect of the test planning or test designing is a very important aspect of this of good producing good quality software. So planning should be part of the project planning, and test case design also should be done along with the design along with the requirement analysis and the architecture design. Then we can use the Pareto principle. It applies to software testing. What is Pareto principle? That means 80% of the defects are in the 20% of the causes. So that means there are a lot of common causes which are arising in, which are leading to a lot of huge errors. So if you can if you can design your test to tackle those 20% of the causes, then you can get the 80% of the errors detected and you can make the software error free. Then testing should begin in small and progress towards testing in large. So always we should start testing for a smaller modules. Little bit we should test, and we should keep on adding more and more, and then go towards the large, so that testing will be, it will be easy for us to handle the testing. Not only that, we can locate where the error is. So that is why we should start in a small. Exhaustive testing is not possible. We should always keep in mind that we cannot make it completely error free. The number of tests that can really happen can be infinite. So it is not possible to do exhaustive testing. Some few errors will always remain, which will be determined as and when it occurs when the software is in use. But we have to, although exhaustive testing is not possible, we have to reduce as many errors as possible so that the remaining errors, residual errors, becomes less. To be most effective, testing should be conducted by an independent party. So that is why we have the QA members or the testers in the project team. The testers do not do the development work, and the developers do not do the testing work. Because if the developer does the testing, then it is not, he will have difficulty in determining all the test errors, because it is a very simple psychological fact that a person will not be able to determine it his own error. So it should be an independent third party which can see view it in with independent thought, and they can take the requirements, take the design, and independently design the test cases and their test plan. So these are some of the principles that we have to follow when we are approaching our testing. Now we have understood that testing must exhibit set of characteristics that achieve the goal of finding errors with a minimum effort. So if you want to determine, if you want that the testing will take less effort, then we have to inbuilt something to the design and the implementation of the software. In other words, the design and implementation of the software should be such that it has a testability characteristics. Only if it has a testability characteristics, then we can design the testing in such a way that it will take a very less effort and very less time. Even with less time and effort, we can get a lot of errors. In simple words, software testability measures how easily system or program or product can be tested. So let us, since testability is an important characteristics of the design and implementation of software, so let us look at some of the characteristics. In fact, there are 7 characteristics that can imply a testability. The first one is operability. If a software operates well, it can be tested more efficiently because you can run it well. So relatively few bugs will block the execution of the tests. So because you can execute it and because you can run it properly, so you will run all the paths by giving different data and check the output so that expected output or abnormal output can be detected. So to be testable or test ready, the software should operate well. So the operability is a one of the characteristics for the testability. The second one is observability. What you see is what you test. So unless there are some outputs generated for each input or some variable states, they can be queried, they can be visible, and it can be easily outputs can be easily identified. Internal errors are automatically detected and reported while conducting the tests, and the source code is accessible. Unless this kind of things are available in the design and the implementation of the programs, it will not be observable. And if it is not observable, then testing will be difficult. So that is why for making the testing simple or easily testable, it should be observability should be high. Next comes the controllability. The better we can control the software, the more the testing can be automated and optimized. So if it is so a lot of things are parameterized and those parameters can be set, then it will be easier for us to optimize it as well as automate it. If so the tester should be able to control the software and hardware states, the variables, certain initial values directly while testing. Tests can be conveniently specified, automated, and reproduced. So that is the controllability characteristics of the software which helps in testing. Then decomposability, by controlling the scope of the testing, we can more quickly isolate problems and perform smarter retesting. So if we can decompose and make the smaller scope based on certain features of the complete software, then what we can do, we can test those things independently, and therefore we can localize the problems and isolate them, and whenever retesting is required, it can be done easily. So the decomposability is a criteria or a characteristics that helps in testability. The fifth one is the simplicity. The less there is to test, the more quickly we can test it. So if you have a functional simplicity, that means functions are well laid out and they are cohesive. Then or structural simplicity, that means the structure structural path is simple. It is not too much winding, and the code simplicity is there. That means that code is written in more structured manner, so that it is easy to read and find the paths inside it. Then we can say that it is easy to find the test cases and to see that all the functions, all the structural elements and the code is tested. So the coverage of the test will be high if they are made simple, so that we can check each path and each functionality. Then comes the stability. The fewer the changes, the fewer the disruption to the testing. So if your software continuously is going on changing, then you cannot test it. So first of all, the software has to, the changes to the software should be very minimal when you try to do the testing. And in case any change has to come, then it should be a very controlled change. It should not be, the scope should be localized, and it should not disturb. It should be in such a way that if the change comes in the middle of the testing, then it should not disturb the existing successful test cases. So those tests that is already completed, it should not do. Otherwise, what will happen? All the tests that has been done will become useless, and it has to be completely redone. So we have to see what are the kind of changes that we are accepting during the testing. If we at all have to accept, then we have to see that it is in such a controlled way that it can be isolated, it can be kept separate, and it should not disturb the existing testing which is undergoing. Then comes final one is the understandability. That means understanding should include the dependency between internal, external, and shared components. Testers should be aware of the changes to the design if there is any. Technical documentation should be well organized, accessible to the tester, and they should be very specific to the context, detailed, and accurate. So, if you have a good documentation and good understanding of the design, the dependencies, and the other features, then what will happen? The testers know it. So, determining the test case is very easy for them, and they will be able to do effective testing, which will take less number of time, and at the same time, it will uncover more errors. So we are always talking of good test. So then let us look at what are the attributes of a good test. A good test has a high probability of finding error. That is foremost. We must do a test only if it has a high probability of finding error. Otherwise, we should not do it. Unnecessary attempts it should not be there. Must understand the software and attempt to develop a mental picture of how the software will fail, and those things should be tried because their job is to make the software fail to determine the errors. Otherwise, they will not be able to determine the errors. So, and the good test is not redundant. That means you should not repeat. You should not repeat a different test case. Or if one test case has already determined one error, then you should not use another test case to determine the same error, because it is a waste of time. It's unnecessary. And every test should address a unique characteristic of the software. In that case, it will not be repeated, and the test case will not be repeated, because our testing time is limited, and we are supposed to determine more. We are supposed to uncover more defects in less time. A good test should be best of the breed. What does it mean? In a group of tests, if you have a group of tests and of a similar intent, but you are unable to do all the tests, then you will may have to choose a subset of these tests to accommodate within the time and cost. Those tests which can detect a whole class of defects should be chosen. So when you select out of a bigger set only a subset, then you have to need a criteria. So the criteria is those tests which can detect a whole class of defects should be chosen. Then a good test should be neither too simple nor too complex. So sometimes it may be possible to combine a series of tests into one test. But then what happens? there may be some side effects of one test to other test. In that case, when you combine it and you try to test it, then one test will mask the other test's error. So you will not be able to determine which error has which part has failed. Out of that series of tests, which one has failed? So it is always better to handle each test case separately, execute them separately instead of trying to combine a series of tests. As long as they are unique, they are trying to do unique scenarios, they should be done separately. So now we have seen the attributes of a good test. We have also understood what is testability, how a program should be designed to provide the testability criteria. So these things we have seen. So now we have to come to the test case design. We said the test case design is the heart of the testing, is the main tactics that we use is the test case design. If the test case design is successful, then our testing will be successful in the sense that we will be able to uncover maximum errors. To satisfy the goodness of testing, we must design tests or test cases. When I say design test, it is like making the test cases that have the highest likelihood or the probability of finding the maximum errors using minimum amount of time and effort. So if you want to satisfy the goodness of testing, you have to design very effective test. Your test design should be very effective. The test case design methods provide a mechanism that can help to ensure the completeness of the tests and provide the highest likelihood of uncovering errors in the software. So there are some test case design methods that we will be looking into. So these test case design methods, they try to give this help. They provide a mechanism so that you can actually do a very complete test and you can provide the highest likelihood of uncovering errors. So that is what is our we want to achieve. So a software product can be tested in two ways. Two ways we can look at this testing, the test plan or the test approach, and in each approach we will use a different kind of test case design. So first one is the black box testing, or also called as the functional testing, and the second one is white box testing, also called as a structural testing. And the test case design for these two types of testing has a completely different approach. So what is black box testing? As I have said, it is also called functional testing. So knowing the specification of the function that a software product has been designed to perform, testing can be designed to demonstrate each function is operational with complete compliance or with errors for each function of the feature. So first of all, first clause is knowing the specification of the function of the software. So that means where is it known? It is known in the SRS, and the product has been designed to perform this specification. So that means the SRS is known and the design is as per the SRS. Then the testing can be designed to demonstrate that whatever has been implemented in that software, each function is operational. This function which is there in the SRS or the specification, it is operational either with complete compliance to the specification or with errors for each function. Whatever is the function or the feature in the specification and which has been designed and given to us to test, we should test by using this black box. We will design the test so that it will demonstrate that each function is operational. That means it is executable, it can work, it can run, and when it runs, either it will run with a complete compliance to the specification, that it will be exactly how it has been mentioned in the specification, or some errors will be discovered in it. And this is for each and every function or the feature in the specification. The test case is designed on the basis of the requirement specification. So in the black box testing, because the specification of the function is the major focus, so when we do the test case design, the approach to the test case design will be the basis. The basis should be the requirement specification. And this kind of testing tactics are used for the validation testing, for the alpha and beta testing, and in the system testing. In the previous lesson, we have covered these kind of testing, the procedures that we follow in the validation testing, alpha testing and beta testing and system testing, we have seen in the previous lessons. And now we are saying that this black box functional testing will be used in the same test. And the white box testing, also known as the structural testing, here we have to have the knowledge of the internal working of a product and the structure of the modules and the program design. So here our focus is the internal working of a product, that is the structural part of the product, how the modules are structured and how do they interface, and how the program, each module is designed internally, how it is designed. And being that that's the focus, tests can be designed to verify that the internal operations are performed according to the specifications. Which specification? The specification of the design. The design, whatever is the design specification we have made for the internal operations, that is being carried out properly. That is what we are verifying in this design, in this test. And each structural path internal to the program module also can be exercised correctly. So within the program module, there are different structural paths. So those paths are also being able to exercise correctly, and the intermodule relations work as per the design. So here, as you can see, the focus is on the design, the way the module structure is designed, the way the internal working of a product, that means the interfaces, how they are interfaced, this module, the way they are interfaced so that the internal working of the product is visible, and we can follow it, and also how the internal design of the program, how the program itself is structured, that. So that is the focus of this test. So the test cases, so that is what we are going to verify. Whatever is in this design specification is being verified in this test case, in this test, in the white box test. In test cases are designed based on the design specifications. And white box testing tactics are applied when we do the unit test for each module, and also when we integrate and then test it, that is the integration testing. So we have looked into the testing objectives. So we are now summarizing the whatever we have discussed in the last few minutes, 20-30 minutes. We took a relook at the testing objectives that we had already studied in our process model class. And we also went through the major principles that are used in the testing. We saw some 7 principles in it. And since testing is done to evaluate the quality and the reliability of a software product, so while designing and constructing the product, testability should be taken into account. That means testability should be designed into the software modules. Then we looked into the what is testability, the interpretation of testability of the software, and the attributes of a good testing. And having understood what is a good testing, we said that good testing starts with a good plan. and to do the good testing, we need to have effective test case designs. So basically, the test case design became the most important part of a test planning or a good test. In this connection, we looked into two major approaches for the test case. From the point of view of test case design, we looked into two major approaches to testing that is prevalent in the engineering practice. And one is the black box testing, which focuses on the functions as documented in the SRS, and the second one is the white box testing, where which is based on the design. The test case design of these two approaches follow a very different tactics. So in the following lessons, we will go into the white box testing, look into the test case design tactics, and also go to the black box testing, and we will look into what is the mechanism of designing test cases under black box, what are the tactics that is used, so that we understand these different test planning and test designing very well. So thank you all. We will meet again in the next lesson.